Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Juniper Vale. Today, I'm going to do a sort of overview reading on the missing and deceased government workers that have been in the news recently. A lot of them have been associated with JPL, which is the propulsion laboratory. I did a little bit of research into it, but I didn't do too much because I want to see what the cards say. I don't want to assume things. Not all of the people missing are scientists, but they are government workers. Some are missing and some have passed away, unfortunately. And this has been going on for a few years, at least 2022. So it's not all at once, as some of the news stories try to kind of make it sound. But I have been finding it to be a bit interesting. And it's also interesting because a well known physicist, Michio Kaku, who I have a physics background, so he's pretty well known physicist and science communicator in the industry. He has said this is quite interesting as well, and it's a bit concerning. So I want to do a spread to see if I could get some more information. I'll be using my Endless Tarot spread. I also got the Blooming Cat Tarot, which I haven't used yet. We'll see if I use this one. But they're very nice cards. They're actually still in order. I haven't shuffled them yet. But they're very nice cards. So we may be using these, we maybe not. But I'll definitely be using the Endless Tarot because I feel like Endless Tarot really gives me good readings. It gives me good information. So let's see. Let me make sure they're not turned over. No, they shouldn't be. Okay. I don't do reverse with these cards just because of the way that they look. Maybe I will one day. But right now I don't. So when it comes to these scientists and government workers, and I'm going to read to you their names as well. So we have Monica Jacinto Reza. She worked for NASA JPL and Aerojet Rocketdyne. She's an aerospace engineer. She's missing. Carl Grillmair was at Caltech and worked for NASA IPAC. He unfortunately passed away in February of 2026. Michael David Hicks worked for NASA JPL. He died in January 30th, 2023. Frank Maiwald, NASA JPL. He passed away July 4th, 2024. Amy Eskridge, she passed away June 11th, 2022. Um, it was noted that her death was self-inflicted, but there has been some scrutiny behind that, as I believe she had previously been on interviews and podcasts. Nuno Loureiro, unfortunately passed away December 15th, 2025. He was murdered by someone that he knew. I remember reading about this actually previously. I didn't know he was associated with the other workers. This was another case that I had heard about. And this person who had murdered him, he actually knew. I believe they went to the same university at some point. Jason Thomas, he's passed away in December 2025. He did go missing from his home first. And he was a scientist and director at Novartis. Major General William Neil McCasland, which I also did a video with Monica Reza. He is currently missing. He's been missing since February 27th, 2026. He's known for his leadership at Air Force Research Laboratory, Albuquerque, New Mexico. He also worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Melissa Casias, she is missing. She's an administrative employee with security clearance at Los Alamos National Laboratory. She disappeared June 26, 2025. Anthony Chavez, he is missing. He is a retired professional who also worked at Los Alamos. He disappeared May 8th, 2025. Steven Garcia is missing. He's a government contractor with high-level security clearance at the Kansas City National Security Campus. He disappeared, leaving his home August 28th, 2025. So I believe that's about 11 people. I didn't go into more research into that from, other than things that I already knew because I wanted to see if there was a connection. I wanted to see what the cards told me. Some of them are unfortunately deceased. Some of them seem to have been self inflicted. Some may have been, their death may have been caused by another person. Other people were found after they went missing, deceased, and other people are still missing. So these are government workers. A lot of them, they're not all scientists. A lot of them have high security clearance. A lot of them have worked at the similar places. So it is interesting. And I want to see what the cards tell us about this. So the first thing I'm going to ask, and I'll probably do like a 5-card spread. What 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 can the guides tell me about the disappearances of these people? So I'm going to ask that general question. What can the guides tell us about the disappearances and the deaths of these government workers? Oops. Page of Cups, Knight of Cups, the story, Queen of Cups, wow, and the Two of Wands. So that's really interesting. It's really interesting I got Page, Knight, and Queen of Cups. Actually, I want to do 6 cards. I feel like I need to pull another card. 6 of Cups. So there's a lot of cups here. Cups talk about social relationships. They can be things like emotions or love. Doesn't have to be. It could be about culture, comfort, intuition. They are water signs and the unconscious mind. So the first thing I think of when I see all the cups is I think of social relationships, possible co-workers. There's some type of cultural relationship amongst these people. I think a lot of that has to do with, most of them have worked together, or even if they weren't directly working together, a lot of them worked within the physics industry, within the government, and different laboratories. So I think that's interesting. We have the story card, which is specific just to this deck. So as you can see with the story card, we have a little squirrel there. And in tarot, sometimes when extra cards are put in, kind of like little Easter eggs, sometimes you see a little squirrel in there as well. The story card is talking about a journey. I mean, this is very interesting that we got the story card with this because it says to me that there's a lot to this. There is a whole long story to this. This isn't a coincidence. Let me look into a little bit more detail into the story card, especially since it's just in this deck. And it talks about a narrative, the journey, cause and effect, and experience. So it's an unnumbered card. As we can see in the card, this road can lead to one place or another, or its endpoint may be obscured. So you want to take notice of anything which appears in the path. And when it says appears in the path, we're looking at the path of these cards, the panorama. There may be something exciting or unique that blocks the way. There may be hurdles presented. The destination is not always as significant as the path you take, right? So I think I think it's very interesting to get this card with this question because I think it is saying that there is a big story here. There's a long path that intertwines and connects these people. We also got the Two of Wands. So when I see the Two of Wands, you see people here making plans, right? They're getting ready to go on some type of journey. They have plans on the table. Um, they have a tent, so it looks like they are on a journey. So that's very interesting. I feel like I may have gotten this card as well when I looked at Neil McCasland. And what the card made me think of is that the people that are still missing, I also got this idea that for Neil and I believe Monica, that they were not deceased. And especially Monica kind of she left on her own accord for some reason, almost like they were trying to protect themselves. Um, so I feel like this is saying that there was a plan. This could be like Monica and Neil. But there looked to be like a plan. Wands are fire and masculine. They are drive, enthusiasm, creativity. They're talking about outworld events. So there is this idea and this planning taking place. So who made this plan? There's a lot of with the pages, the knights, and the queens. To me, this is saying that the people involved, they're not all scientists. Maybe I'll say it's kind of like the queens here. The queens are very wise. Queens maybe represent the scientists. The knights are the messengers. That makes me think of the administrative teams, that maybe they're not the scientists, but they carry the messages, they help. And the pages are the people that are not scientists, maybe not part of the administration. They could just be other government workers that are also part. I believe one government, like the contractors, um, that maybe they're not officially part of the research team, but they still work with them. So that's what the pages, the knights, and the cups are saying to me. All of these people, they're all involved in this research. They've all worked with it in some sort of way. They just have different jobs. And sometimes the jobs give you different levels, like different security levels. So that to me is the missing people grouped together. This is a very long and winding story that we don't know all of the answers to yet, but there is some planning along the way about this. There is a journey that people are taking. I don't know yet who's making this planning. But then we have the Six of Cups, and sixes are that kind of calm after a five. So I don't see any fives. Fives are a bit destructive. The six here, we see people are collecting resources. Sixes can be about service, compassion, community. They're your peace and quiet after your five. There's self-care, cooperation. So this is a good card to me. How it fits in exactly, I'm not sure. Since it's cups, I feel like to me it's about cooperation. It's about people working together. And that could be the people that have gone missing or that passed. Maybe they were working together in some sort of way. Maybe they were working on some sort of plan. So they had to go on to some sort of journey. And maybe part of the reason that there are those that are missing and there are those that are past is the ones that went missing knew they had to go missing, or else they may have passed on by somebody else's hand, possibly. That they're still working together in some sort of way, or there is a group that is amongst these workers who may not be the missing ones or the ones that passed, who are still working together. So that's what the cards are saying for me when I ask, how it's all related. And believe these cards really say to me, these are the people. This is a long story. There was a plan to make a journey, and people are working together. So that's what I get for that. What else would I like to ask about this? All right. So what I want to ask is the people that are missing, are they in danger? So what can Spirit tell me about the people that are currently missing? What can Spirit tell me about the people that are currently missing? Hmm. And I feel like anything I ask is always kind of true for what is good right now, right? When you say you look at the weather, and meteorologists work with a lot of data, and data is always changing. They're looking at what is most likely to happen when they do their forecasts. So they have algorithms, they have computer programs that help them to take that data and tell them what is most likely to happen. So you get like a 10-day forecast. Does that mean that's what is exactly going to happen? No, because things change, right? Last time I talked about the butterfly effect, things change. So people have free will. So when I'm pulling these cards and I'm asking these questions, it's like I'm kind of pulling a forecast for what could happen depending upon the data that we have now. But people have free will. They make decisions. Other people make decisions that affect you. But statistically, this is like our best bet to what would happen now, right? So these people that are currently missing, what can my guides tell me about them now? I got the story card again. The Chariot, they're on the move. I got the Knight of Cups again. I got the Ace of Swords. I got the Tower card. And I got Judgment. Wow. This is very interesting. So again, I got this story card. Like there's still more to this story. There's still more that's going to come out. I feel that because of the Chariot card, these people that are missing, they're on the move. They are on a path. They're on maybe an adventure. I don't know if they're on the move by their own making or by somebody else's. But I feel like, I don't know, I get this, my intuition, it tells me like they are on their own move. Like they, or at least some of them are like they have decided that this is the path that they're on, that they have to take because of possible threats or they were worried about things. This card also shows people on the move, but they're moving toward like a city. The bird is flying along with them like a guide. Again, we have the Knight of Cups, so that is that social relationship, the messenger. I think the people that are missing, that are still alive, they're trying to get a message across. We have the Ace of Swords. Swords are difficult situations. They are also about growth and development of the conscious mind. There's a beginning. There's a new beginning of a tough situation, but I think it's also going to help people grow. The information that they have that they want to deliver, it's going to be damning to some people and it's going to be good for others. Then we get the Tower card. So the Tower card is very interesting because, you see all the animals running away. The tower is on fire. The Tower card is a tough card because it's like destruction. It's like something that was an establishment, right? You got like a castle here is falling down. Something is breaking apart. This information that they have can tear down an establishment, and that will bring judgment. We have this judgment card with this phoenix, I believe. Yeah, phoenix. Phoenixes can talk about rebirth. There's somebody who's cloaked, hidden, going up to that phoenix for judgment. So I think the people that are missing, that are still alive, they are journeying because they have a message to deliver. Maybe they're journeying because they're trying to keep safe. Their message will bring people down or bring an establishment down. So the information can bring on difficult times for some, and then others it's full of knowledge. It's full of knowledge for people to gain. And I believe this judgment card relates to the establishment here. They're together, right? These three are together. So I feel like difficult times for the establishment. That's why the tower is breaking down, and there will be judgment from that information. So whatever information that they have that they want to deliver, it's going to bring on a lot of judgment to the establishment. The establishment could be parts of the government, who knows, research, scientific research, perhaps breakthroughs in scientific research. But it's still all unfolding. Like the story is still unfolding. We don't know everything yet. But I think that it's good that it's in the news. I think it's good that Michio Kaku said something and said this needs to be investigated. I think if more people are aware, it's going to be easier to keep the people that are missing but still alive. It's going to be easier for them to come out and then be safe. That's what I get from this reading here. All right. One more question. Can my guides tell me who are the missing people running from? Who are the missing people running from, and why? Why are they running? Who are they trying to keep themselves safe from? This is very interesting. I'll eventually be able to do more research on each person and see how this all fits in. Hopefully we'll have a good outcome in the future for these people. Hopefully their message will get across. Hopefully whatever establishment needs to come down will come down. So who are these people, these missing people who are still alive? Who are they running from and why? Guides, can you tell me who are these missing people running from and why? The Hierophant. Wow. Wow. Talk about a who. The High Priestess. Wow. 8 of Wands. 5 of Wands. Seven of Pentacles. And the Queen of Cups. Wow. So this isn't the first time I've asked like a who question, and I've gotten like the answer straight away. Hierophants are the establishment. Hierophants can be the government, could also be religious institutions. So here we see those structures holding the keys, right? Those are like statues in front of that church in the back. And then there's somebody sitting there reading, studying. But they're the gatekeepers, right? The Hierophant is the gatekeeper. They hold the knowledge, they hold the money, they hold the power. And then we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess is somebody who is very learned. She is usually reading from a book. Uh, she likes to collect information. In front of her here in this card, she has water where you see the moon's reflection. So in this deck, when I see the High Priestess, I see somebody who's reflecting upon herself. To me, this is like the missing people because most of them are very learned people. They are they're they're about truth. They're about statistics. They're about data. Hierophant, not so much. So to me, I see the Hierophant and I think government. And it could also mean like those in charge of information. And, if something is very shocking, if the information that the missing people have is very shocking, it can also relate to religious institutions, right? Religious institutions have a lot of power over things, over people, and over money. The High Priestess is that learned person. She is always learning new things. Let me check. I also want to know what else this says for the High Priestess: the intuition, the meditation, the spirituality. Be mindful of other cards that might call on you to rely upon your intuition. So if you look inward, you will find the answers. If there are forks in the road or other areas that look rife with precarious obstacles, take time to pause and meditate before you advance forward. So, High Priestess is also talking about wisdom and instinct, right? Be receptive to dreams, attuned to spirituality. This card reminds us that we don't always need physical tools to meet our goals, but often already have the answers we need. So that's interesting. I feel like, let's see. Let me read the other cards as I go through this. It's interesting that I have two wands. Wands are, like we said, fire, masculine energy, creativity, willpower, enthusiasm. Eights are material prosperity, worldly power, leadership, authority. You should be considering the welfare of others when you have an eighth card. Doesn't always come true. It depends on the element or the what you have with the eighth card. We're looking at here these 8 candles burning. They've been burning for a while. And then we have a 5 of wands, and the wands, I mean the fives, remember I said, are difficult times. They can talk about freedom, they can talk about instability and change as well, though. So they could be playful, they could be curious, but sometimes they're too much to handle. With the wands, I would say they're very creative. This is a very creative time. This is a very adventurous time. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of drive, there's a lot of enthusiasm. So there is this instability, and there's an impulsiveness, but there's a resourcefulness. And then we have the 7 of Pentacles. Pentacles, money, business, can be about physical health, can be about careers, economy. Pentacles are earth. Sevens are about inner life, solitude, soul searching. They're a mystical number. They're a rebirth. And then the Queen of Cups. So these I feel are very clear to me. How are these cards going? Let's see. The Queen of Cups, again, we have that wisdom and emotions and social relationships. There's also the unconscious mind. You have water here, water, earth, fire, fire. There's no people in these cards here. So who are they running from and why? I believe they're running from the Hierophant, which could be the government, which could be high power religious institutions, which could be high power scientific institutions. I think this is saying that these people that are missing, they're learned people. They're willing to, they're doing what they're doing because they are looking inwards and doing what they think is best. But why is it that the Hierophant is coming for them? There's money involved, right? I'm trying to remember what the Seven of Pentacles is in my other deck, because it has specific pictures to it that I really like. But basically, we're looking at this collection of money around this tree, right? Trying to grow money, right? Trying to grow a money tree. We're trying trying to grow our own money. And then the Eight of Wands and the Five of Wands. I want to get more detail because I feel like there's something on the tip of my tongue that I'm forgetting, and I want to make sure I figure that out. Competition, squabbles, brainstorming. That's number 5. Yeah, that competition is interesting. Swift progress, energy, productive teamwork. Oh, energy, and competition. Yes, I'm glad I looked that up because now it makes sense, right? We're thinking about science with the JPL, with the physics laboratories. We're talking about how, like, high propulsion. We're talking about possible research into new forms of energy. And there's always going to be competition about who would create a new form of energy, right? That would make a lot of money. And it would also cause other people to lose a lot of money. Hierophants would lose a lot of money if there was new technology coming up that they couldn't own. And I think the people that are missing, they looked inward. The people that unfortunately passed on, they looked inward and they said, we shouldn't be making money from this. This should help people. Hierophant says, ooh, look at all this money we could make. Money, 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 money. And these people are not being cooperative with us. Don't they understand that they work for us? We own their ideas. That is the message that they want to get out. And those towers, those institutions coming down, that's energy institutions. They'll fall, they'll fail, they'll come to judgment, because I'm sure there are lots of ways where people like to have monopolies, right? You can only buy this, you can only buy that, or you can only get your energy from here, you can only get your energy from here. Like, uh, for most places in the United States, I don't know if this is true for other countries. If you're in another country, let me know. But say, for example, it's like there's one energy company that I can get my electricity from and my gas from where I live. And that's true for most of the United States. So when you move to a place, you got to find out who that provider is, and that's the only place you can get it from. If they raise your prices, you don't have a choice. Same with, like, water. Um yeah, so these are like the government and energy companies. Money, 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 money. They want to make more money. There is new energy. You see that? Those lights, new energy. Uh, and there has to be there's a cooperation that, you know, there are a competition, sorry, amongst energy companies. And the Hierophant doesn't want to lose out on money. But the missing people and the people that have unfortunately passed on, they looked inward and they said, no, no, no. We shouldn't be making so much money off of this. This isn't right. And then we have the Queen of Cups. There is a woman. Cups are I see that as a woman who is in charge, who is moral, who is good social relationships. This could also be like the scientists in a way that have chosen that. It doesn't always have to be a woman, but it could be. So if there is a woman that is sort of orchestrating to help the missing people, that could be her, because she's the cups. So to me that means that she's working on the side of the high priestess. We both see that they're both in water. They're both in water here. They're both looking inward. She's feeding the intuition, and the high priestess is using that water to help her meditate and understand her intuition. So I wonder who this is. I wonder if there is somebody that this person could be. Doesn't have to be a woman. So if you have an idea of who this person could be, please leave it in the comments. I would love, 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 love to know. I'm also going to do more research. Maybe I find somebody that this could be, because I think this is a helpful person. Maybe it's one of the missing people. I'm not sure. But I think that's basically what, yeah, I mean, that's what the cards are telling me, and that seems to me what's happening. I'm going to leave it there, so that I can go and do some more research and see what else I can get from this information. It's I still find it odd, and tell me if you find this as well, that the organizations that are writing articles about this, they're usually news organizations I don't really look at. Like they're Fox, they're The Hill, they're Newsweek, there's like News Nation. Like I don't really look at those, because to me they're very pro-conservative, I guess. I don't know about The Hill, but they're very pro-conservative. So I don't know if I feel like the information is, I want in the middle. I want in the middle news articles. I want from companies that are in the middle. I don't want too right and I don't want too left, but it's like I can't find that much information from anybody that's not like a right-leaning news organization. So that is weird to me. But if you have any good articles that you know of that are more from those mid mid organizations, please let me know. Please tell me in the comments. That I would find that very helpful. Okay, so thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Everything I say here, I'm just reading from the cards. I'm not saying that it's complete fact. This is just what I'm getting. Entertainment purposes only. So please like, subscribe, share. Please leave any comments. I do appreciate them a lot. And yeah, so I'll see you some other time. Cinco de Mayo, I'll be on with Judy's Healing Fire. So that's one of my next lives. Thank you.